Well,
I didn't say it.
I'm going to say it.
You don't have to.
You have new tables because I was lazy. That's why you have new tables. It was a lot easier just to pull them from there than to try to get back in there and open it all up again. Oh.
Look, we don't have to fold these up.
Right.
Well, you can fold them up.
No.
No, they need to go back where they were.
Oh my goodness. Well, hi.
Hi. Great sermon this morning.
You know, you may not have noticed it, but after the video, it's one of those things. To try to get what you study down into like 20-25 minutes, it's hard. I thought I did. That was short for me. I mean, that was really short. But I like little angles and things, and so it was like second service. Okay, I'll throw some of these out. I messed myself up because I went out of order on stuff, and I'm sitting here trying to find my notes. It's like whatever, just talk. So, but yeah, that was fun to put together. I told Ed Dubnik, I said, you know, I had the four dudes and their friend. I had that in my mind when they asked, but I didn't know it was September 12th. So I'm like, okay, you can't, yeah. And so I'm sitting there looking through hero stories from 9/11. Okay, what can we do here? And found this one. The red bandana guy, actually, you know, gosh, I've watched, I think, 4 documentaries on it, and there was a book written that I read. They have the Red Bandana Foundation that does all kinds of stuff. It's a big deal. And when they opened I'm not sure if it was the memorial or the museum where Obama. It's okay. Where Obama dedicated, he used this story in his dedication, which I didn't know. 2 funny things, or I guess you can call them funny. The verse where the 4 guys are lowering the guy down to Jesus' feet is verse 19. The kid's number is 19. And I was like, ooh. Well, the other thing I didn't realize is Melody uses this story every year for 9/11 for her class. So I'm sitting there telling her about this story. She goes, I know. I use this every year. Like, oh, okay. So it's...
There's some interesting things that I've heard about that are a little disturbing, quite frankly, is I believe I've got this right, but they've got 22,000 body part remains that they can't identify. And because of the jet fuel and the hoses and the cement dust and all of the other things that happened, it wiped out a lot of the DNA. So I don't know if they'll ever find out who they are.
That doesn't.
But the families know. I mean.
Yeah, but they pretty much.
20 years has expired, so there's a lot of. But you know, I mean, technically, life insurance companies don't have to pay death benefits until it's verified that the person's dead. Usually, 7 years is considered enough time.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of relatives that probably, you know, are unsure whether they're, you know, now why they haven't been in contact with them or something is hard to understand. But you know, if you knew that your loved one was going to the trade towers to work that day, you would assume they were part of the fatalities. And, you know,
There was a story about, I think it was Merrill Lynch. It was one of the big trading companies where the head of security, basically after that bombing that was the late 90s or something like that. Yeah,
93.
Was it 93? He was worried about the security of the towers. So he set up drills. He had all this stuff, and I guess he had everybody prepared because he had like 2,000 employees, and they were in the south tower. When the north tower hit, I guess the Port Authority was like, "Hey, just stay where you are," you know.
No.
Looking back,
Shelter in place is
Yep.
a standard
Shelter in place.
response.
Yep. Well, what he did is he got everybody out, and he got everybody out. He went back up to check their floors because I think they had some ungodly number of floors for that many people, and he died. He was one of the 3 or 4 employees out of all of theirs that died, and they never found any remains of it. Yeah.
Well, and I've told this, one of the amazing things, I may have even said it here, is when which was the second one, there was a fire captain, I believe, that was trying to get up to see what he could do to either put the fire out or help people or whatever. When it came down, he rode the whole thing down and survived. You just can't explain it. There's no
Rhyme or reason.
Rhyme or reason for why he should have been able to fall literally tens of stories inside a collapsing building and not been seriously injured.
God had something planned
Yeah.
for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which brings us to tonight's
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
chapter.
So this is going to be fun because honestly, I could stop at the key points and walk away, and we'd be done. Which is we're on regeneration tonight, which is the fancy way of saying reborn. I'm born again. And so I'm sitting there studying this as much as I could with everything else going on, and I'm like, well, shoot, all I have to do is regeneration is entirely an act of God in which He makes our spirits alive and able to respond to Him in saving faith. All right, there you go. We're done. so I mean, that's it. It's a secret, and the definition down here is regeneration is a secret act of God in which He imparts new spiritual life to us. Well, if it's a secret act of God, see you later. We're done. Well, I can't do that.
Well, see, if you read the chapter, and I sometimes foolishly do, version, which is an electronic version, it says, no one who is born of God will continue to sin.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
Seed remains in him.
okay.
He cannot go on sinning because he has been born of God. 1 John 3:9. Now, further down, it then seems to try to clarify this by saying this does not, of course, mean that the person will have a perfect life. Duh. So which is it?
I'll tell you this.
But only that pattern of life will not be one of continuing indulgence in sin. If you sin, you sin.
Yeah.
What is the indulgence of it?
If you know something's a sin and you just keep doing it, to me that's an indulgence.
Yeah.
But
So
sometimes we slip up and sin, that's not the goal.
so
It's like it's your mindset, to me, the mindset.
But, so what it should say then, instead of no one who is born of God will continue to sin, it should say will knowingly
continue to sin.
or will knowingly sin.
Yeah, you could get there. Now, 1 John is the one where he covers this pretty good. He basically, in his circular argument, will sit there and say, if you don't admit you're a sinner, you make God a liar. And then he says, once you're redeemed, you can't continue to sin.
Your mind is renewed.
Yeah.
And you learn things.
But if you say that you're not a sinner, you make God a liar. So it's like, it's that circular sort of argument. And I think what Gruden is trying to get at, and I think what John's trying to get to in the first epistle is, listen, if you don't know, none of us know that this person who says that they're born again, okay, you don't really know. Because you can't look inside their heart and see that. But, and Jesus talks about it, and we'll talk about it here, but you see the results of regeneration in their lives because they're producing fruit of the Spirit. All right? That's all. At the same time, we will never be perfect and we will never be sinless, but it's a circular argument. But if you're not trying to fix your sin and your sin doesn't bother you, then you got to go, well, wait a second, was I really there? Tough subject because it is secret.
Well, the other part of that continues, I have trouble putting it together. Under your key points, regeneration, yada, 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 yada. On the special terms, born again is another term for regeneration or
Yes.
vice versa.
Yes.
Okay, so my question then becomes, how do you know when you're supposed to apparently, in which He, God, makes our spirits alive and able to respond to Him in saving faith. How do you receive that? How do you know that? How do you accept that?
So
Which is the born again.
Yeah, so
Nicodemus wasn't so far off, by the way.
well, trust me, we're gonna go through this, like we're gonna have a lot of fun with the Nicodemus thing, because I think that's the key to the New Testament part of it. So let me try to get to what you're asking, because it's at the heart of what we're talking about. So let's go back up here real quick. So we've been talking about election, we've been talking about the gospel call, and now we're here at regeneration. We still have a whole bunch of other stuff: conversion, justification, adoption, sanctification. Well, listen, election, there's nothing you can do about that. All right? Election, it's like if you believe in election, then that's a God choice thing. Okay? But the gospel call is sort of, hey, that is a human thing.